Now out, so let's bring in the man behind the mock, Mel Kiper Jr. All right, so Mel, you got to change at the top of the draft. Who do you have the Titans taking at number 1?
Ryan, when they said they wanted a generational talent, that's not one of the quarterbacks. That's Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. But a pass rush, edge rusher, number 1 need, major priority for the Titans, getting somebody off the edge can maybe get you 12 to 15 sacks a year. That's what Abdul Carter can and should be able to do once he's in the NFL with the Titans. So you're picking number 1 overall. You're going to get the number 1 player on your board. I have Travis Hunter 1. I have Abdul Carter 2. Some people think Carter's 1. So for the need, for the player, it makes more sense than taking the quarterback at pick number 1 right now.
Wow, Carter, just a defensive game wrecker for Penn State this past season and really his whole time there. Now, there are plenty of eyes on the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft and where they're going to go. Talk us through where you've got Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders going.
What you hear right now about Cleveland is you're in a division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and you want to reset a quarterback. Yeah, probably the worst trade in NFL history, getting Deshaun Watson. Now you got to start over again. And Cam Ward played at Washington State, Incarnate Word, then at Miami, dealing with weather conditions, Ryan, in Cleveland, certainly Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. And having a quarterback can go toe-to-toe and throw-to-throw against those quarterbacks in the UFC, those great quarterbacks. And then Shedeur Sanders to the New York Jets. With Cam Ward to Cleveland at 2, Shedeur drops maybe to 7. Shedeur's not universally loved. I have him as QB1, but he doesn't have the great arm, doesn't have imposing size, doesn't have great mobility. What he is a surgeon in the pocket. You have a rock-solid offensive line in front of him. He will pick you apart. I love Shedeur Sanders. I love the fact he's dealt with big lights, big stage expectations. I think he's an ideal fit if he gets the 7 to the New York Jets.
Wow, and you got Garrett Wilson to throw to, so that's not bad either if he goes with the Jets. All right, so you can hear more from Mel this evening on a SportsCenter special. Mel Kiper's Mock Draft 2.0. That's 5 Eastern on ESPN 2. Can't wait for it. Mel, thanks so much.
Thank you, Ryan.
So Mel's got Abdul Carter at number 1 in his mock. Miami's Cam Ward is the favorite to be the number 1 pick, according to ESPN Bet. Now, he would be the 3rd Miami player to be drafted first overall, joining Vinny Testaverde and Russell Maryland. The players with the next best odds are Carter, Travis Hunter, and Shedeur Sanders. All right, you see Cam Ward lead the odds there. We got Tim Hasselbeck, our football analyst, joining us now. Okay, so Tim, Christine's Miami fans, they want to know, do you think Cam Ward should go number 1?
Well, I think when you just look at the need at quarterback, I think it makes sense. You know, you heard Mel talking about, generational talent, and you can certainly look at, positions like pass rusher and corner and guys that play those positions. But quarterback is the most important one. And when you look at Cam Ward, he has outlying characteristics. Mel talked about him, being able to go throw for throw with some of the elite throwers in the NFL. He's got that kind of talent. And I also think he has a rare and uncommon calm in the pocket, which is hard to find because, if you're going to play, the marathon that is an NFL season and you're going to be a decade-long starter, you need to be able to play from inside the pocket. So I think there are a lot of characteristics that make it worth it for Cam Ward to go at the top of the draft.
And one thing he's got that all quarterbacks need, a lot of confidence. He said last week, if you don't draft me, that's your fault. You got to remember you're the same team that's got to play me for the rest of my career, and I'll remember that. It's a good trait to have, that kind of confidence. And it doesn't sound like just talk. All right, Tim, stay right there. By the way, speaking of Cam Ward, Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal is going to join Christine in about 20 minutes live from the campus of the University of Miami. That's coming up. Meanwhile, a lot of quarterback questions as the Combine opens today, especially with the Steelers. Namely, who do they keep? Russell Wilson or Justin Fields? The team owner, Art Rooney II, said he prefers to keep one of the quarterbacks. But Pittsburgh's got to act fast. Both are unrestricted free agents, meaning they could walk out the door when free agency begins on March 12th. Now, GM Omar Khan spoke on the situation at the Combine this morning. It's new on SportsCenter.
Yeah, I'd say, ideally we'd like to keep one of the guys that we had with us last year, but until we don't have anyone under contract, so until that happens, all options are on the table. I mean, there were good things from both of them. Glad to have had both of them with us. It was a good experience and great. Both of them really great people. But the reality is we ended the season with 5 straight losses, and that's not good enough. That's unacceptable. And from top to bottom organizationally, we have to be better.
Okay, so Tim Hasselbeck back with us to weigh in on how they make themselves better. We just heard GM Omar Khan. Which quarterback do you believe should be suited up in Pittsburgh next season?
This is interesting. I felt like they should have gone with Fields last year, and when they didn't go with Fields and they said, look, we want the leadership and experience of Russell Wilson, when they did that, I think they kind of made their bed then. And so I think you have to go forward with Russell Wilson. To me, it doesn't make sense to reset the position and say, okay, Fields is the guy this year. You could have kind of, developed him even more a year ago. And so look, my guess is that what they want to do, and no, the losses and the losing streak at the end of the season isn't acceptable, but they want to get stable quarterback play and they want to play really good defense. And I think if that's how they're going to approach it yet again this season, then Russell Wilson's the guy that seems to make the most sense to me.
Okay, so maybe they keep the party going with Russ. By the way, the two had almost identical QBRs, but Russ did air it out a little bit more, over a yard more per completion than Justin Fields. We'll see how they go. Tim, thanks. Be back with you in a little bit.
How about Cam Ward and that arm talent?
There's just no quit in Cam Ward.
That is how Cam Ward does it.
From a 0-star to a 5-star.
The improbability of Cam Ward.
Here with Miami's head football coach, Mario Cristobal. So good to see you, Coach. Thank you for joining us today. We just saw some clips of Cam Ward. Obviously, the quarterback was huge for you guys this season. We've talked about whether or not he'll go number 1 overall, where he will go in the draft. Why do you think that your quarterback should be drafted high?
Well, I think he should be drafted first overall because he's the best competitor and the best overall player in the country. And his competitiveness, his way of being, the way he affects the people around him, he's second to none. I mean, he's a guy that has changed the profile of our university, has certainly elevated everybody around them. And I just think he's a guy that can take a franchise and just elevate it and everybody in it.
So how is he as a leader for people that don't know? Because I feel like he's very vocal in certain moments, but we don't really hear as much as we want from him. So how is he as a leader for a football
he's
team?
phenomenal. He's one of a kind. I mean, you would think he doesn't lead like a quarterback. He leads more like an offensive lineman, a linebacker. He's really enthusiastic, tons of energy. He's very alpha now. I mean, if you can't deal with an alpha, it might not be your thing, but he's the right kind of alpha where, yeah, he'll light a place up, but he'll also galvanize everybody around him. He's as special as I've ever been around.
What did he say? If you don't draft me, that's your fault. Exactly. So he's definitely an alpha.
No doubt.
Okay, but you guys had 10 combine invites this year. What do you think that says about this Miami football program?
Well, again, we came here a couple years ago, and we've been working really hard to bring Miami back to where it's supposed to be, and we're getting there. The trajectory is really strong, and with 10 guys there, and actually we have 3 guys attending the rookie symposium, so 3 of our current players will be there as well. Ruben Bain, Francis Mainoa, Carson Beck, attending as, again, projected guys for the following year. So all in all, it just speaks highly of our players, how hard they work, the program, the way they develop people, but the fact that Miami is working their tails off to get back to where it's supposed to be.
So you mentioned him. It's another guy that we've talked a lot about, Carson Beck, who will be your quarterback next year. What do you like about him as a quarterback, and why did you want him to be a part of this program?
Well, a lot of the reasons why we like Cam, a guy that besides the accuracy and the strong arm and the ability to just elevate a football team, the guy is just he's poised to have a great season with the right protection, the right scheme. Our scheme fits him. Our scheme is designed to be really powerful and strong up front, to get the ball to the playmakers outside, to protect him really well, right, in a very diversified passing game that has a lot of autonomy to it. So he fits us perfectly.
So we know that he got injured in the SEC championship game. He recently got the brace removed from his arm. Where exactly is he at when it comes to his recovery?
He's doing well. He's running really fast. He's not throwing the ball yet, but he's very close to doing so. So he's taking part in all the stuff that he can do, and he should be throwing soon, maybe in a couple of weeks or so.
So this season, you guys had your second 10-win season in 20 years, which is huge. Every single season that you've been here, you guys have just gotten better and better. How do you hope to carry that over into next season?
Oh, we're just getting started. I mean, the vision in coming here and led by, again, our president, Joe Echeverria, was about taking the right steps and doing it so we can build Miami to sustain greatness. And we are just full throttle working ourselves to a point where we could contend and win championships on a yearly basis.
So as you look forward to next season, what excites you the most about Miami football? Because we talked after the season ended, right, and what your hopes were for this year. So what are your hopes for next season?
To elevate and take another step. The hard work of our players, their attitude, their competitiveness, their willingness to be pushed and to push themselves, that excites me, because at this time of year, teams go one way or the other. these guys have taken on the offseason as a team that has a chip on their shoulder. So we're going to push them. We're going to push them hard.
I do want to ask you one more question about Carson Beck because we talked about the leadership of Cam Ward, and I feel like they're very different quarterbacks when it comes to just their personality. What about Carson do you think will make him a leader of this team?
Well, I think he's made of the right stuff. I think guys that are competitive by nature, they might lead in different ways, but their intent is pure. It's natural. They want to win. They're not concerned about accolades and awards or whatnot. They just want to win. They want to make guys around them better. They want to do it as a team. So I think those qualities and just an internal drive to be great, it's a great combination for what we need.
Okay, so one thing about Miami, as you know, I spent many years here, that we love is the Cuban coffee. There's cafecito. There's also cafe con leche, but we have cafecito here, and we know that Coach Cristobal has to drink a lot of this because of all the things that he does for Miami football. So that's yours.
That's mine.
This is what it looks like. It's a little shot.
Okay.
I feel like we can cheers
Thank you.
to Miami's football season
Absolutely.
this year and years
Progress.
to come. Yes,
Amen.
exactly.
Go Canes.
Thank you so much.